we're gonna watch a trailer, and then you guys will tell me what you think about it.
Don't have any idea what this thing is. Let's see if it works like this. Yep, guess it does.
Yeah.
I guess this is what they like to call Californian humor. The action is all over the place, everything is happening really fast, they move from one thing to another, everything is super silly. It's almost as if it's made for kids with ADHD. I used to be a kid, I didn't like this stuff. And it turns out that my fiance has a lot of kids in her family. Cousins and other relatives, and they don't like this either. They prefer manga, they prefer anime to this. In fact, the cartoons from the 90s and the 80s were far superior to this. I mean, look at this, objectively speaking. Look at the drawings. They're very simple drawings. They're made so that mediocre people with no talent can partake into the creation of this cartoon. So I guess it's in order for them to be able to hire people on ideology rather than on talent. In fact, talent is often shunned. And I know this because I happen to speak with some animators from the video gaming industry, from the comic book industry. They all tell me the same things. Like, if you're capable of drawing good, they actually tell you to draw less, so you don't embarrass the ideologues. And something else that they have in common is the actual producers, the people that are making these cartoons. Most of the time, they actually say on Twitter or in various interviews that they didn't like the original. So they hire people that seem to hate the original IP in order to create something new. And it's like, you have to ask, like, okay, well, why are you doing this? Like, why don't you just create a new IP? And the reason seems to be on the fact that they want to take advantage of people like me, people like you, that used to enjoy the previous IP. And you are being tricked, you are being duped into watching this so that they can make more money than if they would have made an original cartoon. But okay, the argument is that it's made for kids, right? This is what they're going with. So what moral do you think Thundercats teaches children? Because that's an important thing. Like, if you're a parent, you should be concerned with what your children like to watch on television or, right now on their tablets. And I watched the first episode. It was really bad. It was all about making fun of Lionel. I mean, he was the butt end of all jokes. And every time he wanted to go adventuring, every time he wanted to do something for himself, he was immediately being shut down. He wasn't allowed to take initiative at all. And I guess like the moral was to never do things by yourself if you're a guy. Always seek consensus from the group. Always talk with others and ask for permission before doing anything. And this is something that they want to show to boys, right? And when I was a boy, I was all about exploring and finding new things and, going adventuring and whatnot. Like the idea of the Boy Scouts, discovering nature. Like that's what all the boys are. And this cartoon is basically telling you the opposite. It's basically telling you, nope, you should fight against your nature, you should fight against your desires, and be a good little drone and just follow instruction from other people. And this leads me to this train wreck, which is Star Trek Lower Decks. And the reason I talked about Thundercats is because it's almost the same thing. I mean, I barely could tell the difference, and there are other shows like Harley Quinn. Exactly the same, it's almost copy-paste. But the only difference, I guess, is the skin that they're having. It's like when you play Far Cry, and then you play Far Cry New Dawn, it's the same map, like you recognize the game. It's just that they changed the models here and there and a little bit of the visuals to make it different. It's literally the same story. I'm not making it up, like, just try to watch some of these. It's hilarious with the fact that it is so similar one to another. And these are supposed to be completely different IPs. I mean, Star Trek, Harley Quinn, Thundercats, they're supposed to be completely different things, but like, yet again, this is the only thing that they can produce. And I have to assume that there's not much talent wherever these studios are located, from California, or the people that seem to graduate, kill arts, are almost like drones. That I mean, they indoctrinated them so well that they're thinking the same things, because like they're not producing anything of value. Like it's the same things that are coming from an assembly line, and they're all very similar to one another, except one has a color of red paint and one has a color of blue paint, which is sexist. But anyway, so I watched this episode, and it's got nothing to do with Star Trek. And here's the problem when I say it's got nothing to do with Star Trek. It's like the soul of Star Trek isn't there. Because every single IP has something at the core, which is very important, and without that, it's not the same IP. And Star Trek is about the bright new future. It's all about that humanity has become enlightened and so advanced that there is no more crime, there are no more wars, and the only thing that's left is to just explore the galaxy and, try to help other people. That's what Star Trek is about. And as long as you have this, you can make a comedy just fine. I mean, The Orville is a perfect example of a comedy made out of Star Trek. It's very popular, very successful. And yeah, it's even something that kids can watch. I mean, it's not, when I grew up with Star Trek, and I was like, 12 when I saw the first episode, and I liked it. But anyway, right, so you could probably even make a horror from Star Trek, as long as you maintain this vibe. I mean, you can have like an alien planet that's, under attack by something, and then the Federation comes and rescues everyone and helps them up and uplifts them. Like, you can have that, okay? But like, you need that essence, and this doesn't exist here. I mean, this woman is a drunk, like right in the beginning. She is prone to violence. She manages to cut the leg off of another inmate, but like, again, it's just a joke, bro. It's just a prank, like he cuts the leg and then the next second he is fine. And like, she doesn't have any place in a military academy. And then you have like, these weird haircuts that again, like, they don't have place, because like this is the military. Like, why would you be shaved like this? This is just me nitpicking, but like, whatever. And then they have like the old tropes that the woman is hyper competent and the man is the butt end of all jokes. Again, not a message you'd want to send to children, especially not little boys. Star Trek was about everyone being competent, but like, I think that's the problem. They don't know how to design competent people, so they have to lower everyone around that competent person so that they look intelligent and good by comparison. The women immediately bond. Like, this is another trope that I noticed from California. If you have two women in any cartoon or anything, they immediately become friends from the get-go. And like, what I get like from this episode is that they're actually trying to subvert Star Trek. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, Star Trek for quite a while was considered by critics to be the communist utopia, and they're trying to subvert the communist utopia, because the whole vibe of the first episode is that the leadership is actually corrupted, the Federation is actually bureaucratic, and the people on top, they don't care about the people on the bottom. Like, that is the knowledge that you get from this. And it's like, wow, I mean, can a communist not just make their own utopia in a pleasant way? Because like, the whole purpose of the original Star Trek, right, like, if you want to look at it as communist propaganda, which I don't think it is, but a lot of people and critics considered it as such on forums, the idea is that it creates a universe that's so beautiful, that is so amazing, that everyone who watched Star Trek wanted to be in that future. You wanted to be in Captain Picard's desk and pick up the iPad or whatever, which is kind of interesting. Like, by the way, I just parenthesis here. Like, I love the fact that now when I watch Star Trek, I think that it's boring. But when I was a kid, like, all the technology they used, it looks so cool that I would want to have like a little bit, to touch myself here and communicate with someone else, or to be able to, have like an iPad and you look at it, and I was wondering what's there. And now that I'm looking at Star Trek, it's like, man, they seem kind of redundant, don't they? Which is also like kind of interesting. Like, if you were to make Star Trek today, you could actually try to imagine how technology would be in the future and try to reproduce that. But like, it requires creativity, it requires talent. I mean, most of the people who made Star Trek actually managed to come up with these ideas and concepts, and almost all of them were right, except the space travel part and the holodeck. But other than that, a lot of the gadgets they use, we use today. Anyway, right, so that is the problem, okay? Like, nothing futuristic, nothing cool. I don't want to be in this place. I mean, they get attacked by some giant spider cow in the beginning. And look at it, you know, it's just like, it's disgusting. Like, why do you show kids this? You know, why do kids have to see this? I'm just pointing it out, you know, because this is for children, allegedly. And another thing is, like, they're trying to teach you not to assume, okay? Because assuming is wrong. So in the first episode, this guy is tasked with keeping an eye on this woman. And he sees how she sneaks out and delivers some crates to the aliens on the planet, and thus they're breaking Federation law, because you're not supposed to give weapons to aliens. And it's like, no, they're not weapons, they're farm equipment. And it's basically, this guy is made to look like an idiot because he assumed things rather than give her the benefit of the doubt. And you, as the viewer, are supposed to feel dumb because you also assume things rather than give her the benefit of the doubt. I didn't assume anything because I knew that she's a woman of color, and in social justice land, which this cartoon is made about, women of color never do anything wrong. So actually, no, she's selling farm equipment to the aliens. And the guy goes like, well, how do you know they even needed farm equipment? And she's like, oh, because I've been here before with another spaceship. So it's the guy's fault for not having the knowledge, for her not telling him about her past. And the reason apparently she's selling these farm equipment is because they will starve unless the Federation gives them this. And because of bureaucracy and how slow things are moving, they wouldn't get this in time and starve. So again, really dumb plot. I mean, you're only giving it to like what, 2 farmers? Like, what is that going to fix? And secondly, why is the Federation's job to save random alien? Whatever, like, I'm not even going to go there. But yeah, and she's not even giving it for free. She's selling them. So like, she's making a profit out of this. Whatever. And then, like, the other thing where you shouldn't assume is this alien spider creature, which attacks them. But it turns out that the alien spider creature is a herbivore. It eats plant life, so it's not actually hostile to humans, and you need to feel bad for trying to think that the solution is to taser it. And then there's like a virus that also happens on the ship, and everyone gets infected and turns into zombies and whatnot. Like, it's Californian humor. Like, everything is happening. Stuff needs to go on the screen every single time. If there are 3 seconds without action, then probably an animator gets fired. It's for kids with ADHD. Like, you need like all this action to happen in order to, I guess, keep the kids glued on TV. I'm sorry to say this, but like, I used to be a kid, and there are kids that are also intelligent and can follow a little bit of a plot. Like, you don't need this. You can have just some dialogue every now and then and whatever. So really disappointed in this, and I had very low expectations to begin with. Like, I mean, this was, the bar was so low that it almost reached China. Like, the bar got infected with COVID. That's how low it was. And I'm still disappointed, I suppose. I felt like maybe it's something that I can review or, talk about the show every now and then, but it's so damn boring and so annoying that I literally can't. I mean, I had to spend 2 days to watch one episode. I'm not kidding. Like, I watched half of it. I was so bored, and then I had to watch the other half of it. It's really that bad. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section.